Hey everybody, my name is Michael McDowell. Great to be with you. Wanted to talk a little bit today about AI and some of the opportunities that we in the classrooms have with AI. And one of the most interesting apps I think that are out there is Sherpa that comes out of one of the labs at Stanford. And Sherpa is a great AI tool because it allows you as a teacher to upload some of your readings and then do a video recording with students on their understanding of that particular reading. And they ask students questions at different levels of complexity, record that, and then provide students with actual feedback on their understanding of that work. It also provides students feedback on their writing. So you can also submit students writing and it will actually evaluate that based on some of your criteria. So I just want to give you an example. So I went in and I uploaded one of my daughter's assigned readings. So she had to read Henry Slessor's Examination Day. So I uploaded that. And then it immediately asked me a series of questions around that particular reading. So I quickly skimmed the reading and then asked questions. And then they asked me a number of different levels of complexity. And you can see down there at the bottom, it also will do this in caption. So whether it's audio that I'm listening to it or actually can see the actual AI stating the specific question from the article. And it did ask questions across different levels of complexity, and you can set it at different grade levels. So you could have likely assigned this at sixth grade, but you could go up to 12th grade or maybe even earlier if you think that that would be appropriate for students. And I found it quite challenging. I thought just because of my skimming, I thought that the questions that they asked did range across different levels of complexity. And I'll show here just for a couple of seconds, you can actually hear kind of one of my responses to that. And you can judge how well I did in terms of my reading. There's a great example in the story where Dickie asks about how far the sun is away from the earth. It is another example of Dickie's curiosity and his interest in continuing to learn. Once you've listened to that, and this is the section where you can actually hear me talking to the AI. What it does at the end of that is it generates some feedback. So it actually will provide the transcript of what I said, and then it eventually gives me feedback on what questions did I do well on, and where were there specific errors, and where was the specific question, and how I could actually improve. And there's some other things that you can do. So that would be on the reading side. On the writing side, what was really interesting is, so I went to Achieve the Core. It's a free website. I looked at what was the expectation of writing at specific grade levels. I picked 11th grade. And then what I did is I just presented the AI specific criteria from 11th grade argumentative writing. I took those criteria from the AI, from the Achieve the Core, and I plugged it into Sherpa. So you can see here, you can design your conversation. And I said, I want to make sure that whatever student submits their writing, that when you ask them questions about their writing, I want to make sure that you're talking about these specific criteria, which again, I got from Achieve the Core. So I have things like focusing on the precise claim, being able to talk about their claim versus the counterclaim. And then I just came up with a particular question that I put into AI. And so I said, okay, you have to write an argumentative essay about whether or not we should modify Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. I had listened to a podcast on that from Ezra Klein at the New York Times. And so then I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to have AI write an essay for me. So I went to ChatGPT and I just said, hey, write this essay based on what was expected. So I cheated. I just had AI write it, and then I plugged that in, like I submitted it, like it was the paper, and then the AI started asking me questions about the paper I had written, where the first question was just like, hey, why did you write it? But then you can see down there at the bottom, it asks me a pretty challenging question. It says, you wrote about societal perceptions of loyalty and allegiance and how they've evolved over time. Can you elaborate on that? And immediately I was like, no. And that's because I didn't write the paper. I hadn't thought through what had been written. And so this is a really great opportunity for you if you're suspecting that students might be using AI to generate some of their work. This is a way to actually slow that down. And even if they submitted their own work, this is a really thoughtful way to have students really think through their essays and that may allow them to get feedback from AI, and then they can actually make some changes within their drafting. And again, this work is recorded. So I think this is a great app. It's got tons, or AI, I think it's got tons of potential in the classroom, and it might be something that you want to play with and consider over time.